Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome to this preview for tomorrow's Newcastle versus Man City game in the FA Cup 6th round, 18:30 kickoff at St James's Park. I won't call it the Sports Direct Arena because never ever will I look at that stadium as the Sports Direct Arena. We've got Matty on. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. If you don't know, I'm sure you've seen Matty on here from the Magpie Channel. How's the channel going, mate?
It's going well, mate. It was going really well when obviously the takeover was going heavy, and we're getting interest from around the world. Obviously, particularly in the Middle East, a lot of Arabic writing and comments. I don't know if they were good or bad, but either way, it was interaction to the channel. The same with social media, so it was good. Hopefully, obviously, the more successful Newcastle become, if and when hopefully the takeover does happen, then the channel will get bigger. So now that the football's back, we'll keep plodding on.
Yeah, absolutely. Same with us, mate. It's been 3.5 months of just grinding it through and everything, but now football's back. Views and everything have gone through the roof as usual. But tonight, what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly skim over a few things. We'll look at, obviously, we've seen all over social media the scenes last night in Liverpool. Then we'll have a quick discussion on the Newcastle takeover, in fact, and where that's going. And maybe Matty can give us a little bit of insight from his take on the news that he's hearing of it, because certainly when we discussed it last time, we really wanted it to happen. We'll then look at the game tomorrow, look at the starting 11 and look at the score prediction. So first off then, Liverpool won the title. Congrats to Liverpool. They've been the best team by a million miles in the Premier League in particular this season. But then you saw all the Thursday night, you saw them all outside the stadium, which was inevitable. You could almost forgive that. But then last night, some shocking scenes. What were your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
That's what I mean. I think on the night you can understand them gathering, minutes after winning the Premier League after waiting for 30 years. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be against Newcastle fans doing that. I mean, there was murmurs of us delaying the takeover just so that wouldn't happen during this, but we've got to remember we're in the middle of a pandemic here. It can't be acceptable for thousands of fans just to go absolutely mental because they've won a league. I mean, wait a week until lockdown's over at least, but you don't understand on the night, but then following it on and say, when are you going to stop? You've got to calm down for a little bit. I mean, it's a shame that obviously the fans couldn't be there in the stadium with the players when it happened, or when it would happen at the next home game even. But it's not great to see, especially with obviously what's going on, because the last thing we want is another wave of this virus, is it?
Yeah, it was, and you could probably take the crowds gathering and things like that, but then you see rockets being fired at the Liver building, which at the end of the day, that's on their badge. The Liver bird is on their badge, and I think they were aiming it at the blue lights, but in fact, I think it was the Union Jack being displayed on there for Armed Forces Day, which is today. And then you saw fires breaking out in the Liver building, and then stabbings and attacking police vans and all sorts of things. You just think it's not the way you want to celebrate after and like you said, after 30 years, it's not really the way you want to celebrate winning your first Premier League title.
Because you're in the news immediately for all the wrong reasons, aren't you? Because
exactly.
If it happened in Newcastle, the Newcastle fans are doing that in the city centre. The whole nation's looking at you in disgust, really. So that's the last thing you want. You want to be proud. You want to be showing pride in your city. You shouldn't be attacking the monuments like the Liver bid.
Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on to your club, the takeover. I read earlier today that the Saudi FA have written to the Premier League, basically assuring them that these illegal streamings, which seems to be the main crux of what's holding up over the illegal streaming of the Premier League games, basically saying to them, look, it ain't going to happen. It certainly won't happen. So the also rumours are that early next week there could be a decision made, and it looks like potentially it's going to go in favour of Newcastle, and everything will go ahead next week. Now that at least they put something in writing to say, we can assure you that these illegal streams are not going to happen in the future. Where's your take as a Newcastle fan and Newcastle fan channel?
Yeah, we're positive for the first time in a couple of weeks, to be honest. I mean, obviously at the start we're super positive, thought it was going to come through, delay after delay. The last couple of weeks until last week, we're hearing all, negative signs, red lights here, there and everywhere, everyone trying to disrupt it and stop it. But now we're hearing positivity. Now we're hearing the Saudi Arabians taking action, the Public Investment Fund who are behind the Saudi Arabian royal family who are taking over the club with all the billions. We're hearing that those are going upon the right lines of actively trying to remove any sort of wrongdoing in their country in terms of piracy. So they've stopped 231 streaming services.
Wow.
Bought shares in BT Sport. They've got the rights to Serie A next season. So they're on the right line. They're doing all the right movements. They've promised the FA and the Premier League and the government they're going to put out these standards over the next couple of years to stop any of this piracy going on. So everything we're hearing now is that it's on the move. It's going to go through next week. We've been there before across the last couple of months where we've always heard next week. It's imminent. It's coming. It keeps on getting dragged on. But hopefully, fingers crossed, next week we can get it over and done with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all been held up down to that one fact, hasn't it? I think it's the Premier League sort of flexing their muscles and going, well, we can stand in your way to give it the green light, or you sort out these illegal streaming sites, and if you do that, make us a promise, a written guarantee, then we'll give it the green light. Because I don't think there's any other real issues involved in this. I think it's just more of a political thing with the FA. Over these illegal streaming sites. And you're saying there's 231 of, was it 231 of them?
231 outlets of where people were doing it. I mean, it was about a year ago where it was really bad, where these dodgy boxes were flying everywhere and everywhere was supplying them. But that doesn't exist anymore. That company's not in action anymore. So, like I say, they're actively searching to destroy any sort of counterfeit piracy action that's going on. I just think the Premier League, once shown that evidence, they'll want the investment, they'll want the attraction, it'll worldwide benefit them, because if Newcastle can become, the next Man City or get up there and become an elite team in the Premier League, it's only going to attract more money and investment into the Premier League and more worldwide viewing. So, as Newcastle fans, we're obviously scratching our heads and fingers crossed that's going to go through any minute.
Yeah, well, I think it's the right move. I mean, it's not like the country itself, Saudi Arabia, doesn't have the money to make, like you said, invest in a broadcasting company and make sure that it's all above board. I mean, I don't think there'll be any issues with it. I think once that is done, I think next week or the week after at the latest, I think you'll have the announcement that the takeover is going ahead, which will be great news. I mean, I'm really pleased for you guys. I really am. But anyway, we're here to talk about tomorrow. I said 18:30 kickoff, St James Park. It's the sixth round of the FA Cup. It's Newcastle versus City. Just saw at the moment, I don't know where it stands as we're recording this. United are drawing 0-0 with Norwich, but there's still other teams like Leicester, Chelsea, Arsenal, obviously yourselves, City, Man United still left in it. So there's some big teams still in the next, or potentially in the next round of the draw. So what are your thoughts on tomorrow's game? Because looking at your 3 games that you played so far, you beat Southampton 1-0. You then battered Sheffield United 3-0 at home, and then obviously midweek got a draw 1-1 with Villa. Where do you see yourselves going into tomorrow's game?
Well, you mentioned the teams that are in the draw. I think every Newcastle fan was devastated when they pulled Man City out of the bag, because we all knew the league was pretty much out of your grasp. And you've got a good track record in the FA Cup. Current holders, you've got to go all out. You've got the best squad on paper. That was the last thing we wanted. I mean, what we would have done for a Sheffield United draw after doing the double over them this season. But if you're going to win it, you've got to beat the best, haven't you? So That's the way Newcastle got to look at it now. There's no change in the draw. It's a huge loss that there's no crowd at St James's Park for what was originally scheduled as a Saturday night kick-off. Imagine 52,000 tipsy Geordies heading in there trying to rally the team behind them. Would need that. But Newcastle got a good record against Man City, unbeaten in the last 4 outings against City at St James's Park. A good 2-2 draw this year, beat you last year, and then a couple of draws before that. So you're missing Sergio Aguero as well, which is a bonus for us because he loves to score against Newcastle, particularly at the Etihad. Fernandinho the other day getting sent off, so he's out. But let's be honest, Newcastle would need 8 or 9 more of them to get to be missing this game to really fancy with chances. But you never know. Magic of the FA Cup and all that. If we turn up on the day, praying we'll keep it tight. The goal against Villa was the first goal we've conceded in 5 games at home, so we're pretty solid at the back. Your weakness, I would say, was at the back. So you never know. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think we'll get hammered, but if we're being realistic, unfortunately, you go for a City win. But I'll back Newcastle, and I'll say hopefully we can drag it extra time or penalties.
Yeah, you're currently 13th in the Premier League, so it's not like everything is. You're not in that sort of like 18th, to 15th or 16th spot. You're not struggling, thinking, Jesus, we need some more points and to make sure. I think you'll be absolutely fine in the Premier League. So I think you can go out and play your strongest team. I'm not sure what your lineup was against Villa, whether you rested any players, but I know I think Shelby's a doubt for tomorrow. Hayden and Richie have got soft tissue injuries. Longstaff is back though, by all accounts. It's going to be interesting. But it was in Mark Lawrenson came out and made a statement which I read and thought I'm going to read it to you. And he said he claims tomorrow in the FA Cup that it won't be as important as Wednesday's clash with Bournemouth. And I'm thinking, what? What are you talking about?
Mark Lawrenson, it's time to retire. Do you know what I mean? He's coming out with Newcastle are 11 points clear of the relegation zone. Do you know, like you said, we can go all guns blazing. Yeah. But then we'll go to Bournemouth, who are in the bottom 3 on Wednesday. It's not a bigger game than Bournemouth. This is Newcastle United's first FA Cup quarter-final in 15 years.
Yeah.
This is our biggest game of the season by a country mile. Of course, we're going to go all out for it. Mark Lawrenson, ridiculous statement. I don't know what he was thinking making that. Fair enough if when it came out of lockdown and got beat off Sheffield and beat off Villa, then you'd be thinking, oh, we're only a few points above. But we're 11 points clear. I doubt we're going to get stuck back. We're 1 point off the magic 40-point mark. So I think we're safe, and we're gonna have to give 110% every single one of them tomorrow. Like you say, Hayden. If Hayden's injured, it's going to be a huge blow because he's a real unsung hero for us. He's like your Fernandinho, really. Breaks up play, crunching tackles here. He never runs off the pace. So we're praying he's fit because we're going to need him.
So moving on to your starting 11, I don't know what your lineup was for the Villa game, whether you rested anyone or not.
It was unchanged. It was exactly the same team that beat Sheffield.
And sometimes that's a good thing. Keep that momentum, because let's face it, you're undefeated so far, and that's the first goal you've conceded. Coming back after the restart. So, what's going to be your starting lineup for tomorrow?
I think I hope we stick to the 4-2-3-1 that we've been playing, because obviously we had 5 at the back for the entire duration of Rafa Benitez's period at the club. Brucey tried to emulate that, didn't really work out as well. While holding players back like St. Maximin and Almiron, who weren't getting into the final third. The same with Joe Linton. For me, we'll have to stick, like I say, 4-2-3-1. The Dubravka picks himself in goal. Manquillo's just saying a new deal at right back. Fernandez and Lascelles, the centre backs, have been solid. Danny Rose seems to be getting better, fitter every game at left back. Praying Isaac Hayden's fit in the middle to partner John Joe Shelby, because they complement each other so well. Shelby gets the freedom on the ball to find a runner. Hayden will stop everything, break up play. Almiron in his preferred number 10 role. St. Maximin, our star player, on the right. I would change it up for this one. We've been playing Matt Ritchie on the left. You got Lazaro, who have brought in on loan from Inter Milan. He's been playing as well. I'd drop Joe Linton on back to left wing, where he was playing for Hoffenheim, because he's not an out-and-out striker. He's not a number 9. He doesn't score goals. And then I would start with big Andy Carroll up front, because I think we have to utilise his aerial threat. He looked sharp the other day when he came on. Brucey's been saying he's lost 5 kilos. He looks light. He looks ready. He was a beast when he came on the other day. He got his assist, and it just depends on his fitness, doesn't it? But if he is fit, if he is ready, I'd start with Andy Carroll, because bringing him off the bench is a good option. But when you play Manchester City, you could be 2 or 3-0 down. It doesn't matter who you bring off the bench; it could be too late.
Yeah, it does worry me, certainly when you throw in the likes of Andy Carroll and his height and his aerial ability. It's obviously, we know, even though we had first 2 games, 2 good wins, 8 goals in 2 games against Burnley and Arsenal, but then the other night I mean, we saw it. I mean, it was just a defensive disaster class. It really was. And we know where the problems are. We've known all season. What always worries me is set pieces, corners, free kicks, height at the back, which sort of leads me to my starting 11 tomorrow. But I do think Pep is going to change it, even though it's the FA Cup, even though the league has gone. I've got a funny feeling he's going to make massive changes for tomorrow and he's going to rotate. I really do. So I'll give you my lineup. I don't know whether that makes you think, oh, actually, we might have a chance tomorrow. But I think he'll stick with Ederson in net. I don't think it makes much difference because we don't play Liverpool until Thursday. I think he'll rotate. I don't think Walker will play. I think he'll play Cancelo. Stones is back in training, and it wouldn't surprise me if Stones is back in for tomorrow's game. And I do think he'll play Otamendi because he's good in the air, and he'll give Laporte a rest for the Liverpool game. So Stones and Otamendi are centre back. Zinchenko, it could be Garcia, but I'm just worried about his height. Zinchenko coming in for Mendy. So there's a completely new back four. I think Rodri will be back in holding, and then I think he might go Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden ahead of Rodri, and probably rest Kevin De Bruyne for the Liverpool game because I think he'll want to make a statement on Thursday night. I know. I hope he plays, but I'm just thinking I never get a Pep. Nobody gets a Pep system right or the starting 11. I think Sterling might keep his place, but this time I think he might play him on the right. I think Leroy Sané might come in and have a game on the left with Gabby Jesus up front, obviously Aguero. So that is pretty much, 9 changes to the Chelsea game. I think he'll be pissed off after that Chelsea game because it was a terrible performance in parts. There were some parts that were decent, but on the Friday Night Social I said, for the Chelsea game, the review of the game, I can't remember the last time a team had 10 shots on target versus our 2 against Chelsea. It's almost unheard of. And that shows you, the defence and the attack in that particular game. So I think Pep will be pissed off with it, and he'll be making a point, and he likes rotation. So I think he'll make some massive changes for tomorrow, even though, like you said, we've dominated cup competitions over the last few years. I mean, we've won the last 8 out of 9 domestic trophies, excluding this season's Premier League. So, but I do think he'll rotate. So, I think it's going to be a difficult game.
Yeah, hopefully it will be a good game. Hopefully because I don't want to say we're being boring. I know it can be the best chance to really try and eliminate you stealing into a lead, but we don't want to be too defensive because if you're going to go out and get beat, 2-1 or 3-2. Don't go out and just get beat 1-0, not have a shot on target all game, not have no excitement, But when I was crossing my fingers there with the likes of De Bruyne, maybe being rested because he is different class. But then you've still listed Raheem Sterling, you've still listed, even Jesus, you've still listed Phil Foden. What a talent he is! Do you know what I mean? So there's still some serious players. I mean, pretty much every single one of them players is still getting the Newcastle team. So that's the worry.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I'm gonna have to back the boys on it in the FA Cup quarter final. I'm gonna have to back the boys.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go for 1-0 City at half time. And Shearer's drawn the semi-finals at half-time on the St James's Park pitch, or probably in the studio, wherever. But it's the draws. Really? Yeah, so it's pretty unheard of. It's weird that the draws at half-time. So obviously it's normally before or after. Yeah. So we're 1-0 down at half-time. Yeah, Newcastle will get drawn to Sheffield United because they've beaten Arsenal at lunchtime, obviously. And then Shearer pulls it out of the bag, gives Newcastle a treat. Sheffield United in the semis, chance to get to the final. Andy Carroll equalises. Newcastle win on penalties.
Yeah, you reckon?
I'll go for that.
I think it's going to be a tough one. I really do think it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. I do think, obviously, not having a crowd behind you lot is a massive loss, and we've seen. I mean, I read some figures out on the Friday Night Social about. I think it was not this week. I think it might have been last week. That at the time, there'd been 22 games in the Premier League, or in the Premier League and the Championship, and only 5 home wins. There'd been 10 or 11 away wins, And that goes to show you that not having any home advantage with your fans has played a part without a shadow of a doubt. But I think as the sort of resumption of the Premier League restart goes, I think players will start getting used to it, and I think it'll start evening itself out possibly. But it's going to be a really good game without a shadow of a doubt. Any questions for us?
What's Newcastle's best way of getting a result tomorrow night? Get through.
I think we touched on it earlier. I think as long as we don't make massive cock-ups, which, we've made a few this season. We haven't made loads. I think some City fans go overboard with the defensive cock-ups and things. I think we've made a few, but then all teams make the odd cock-ups. We saw the one the other night with Rodri and Mendy, and then a terrible tackle by Mendy on Pulisic, but he finished well. My big concern for you, against you guys tomorrow is, as you said, if you think Carroll might play, is set pieces. And I think it will depend on who plays. I think what worries me is that we've got Eric Garcia back now after that concussion. I think, I'm sure. Is he back? Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's still got another couple of days to go. But will he play Laporte again, knowing that Liverpool's coming up? Because City will want to beat Liverpool on Thursday, regardless that the title's over. They'll want to put a statement down. And Pep notoriously rotates for the cup competitions. He just does. But it's not done us any harm. We have won, like I said, 8 out of the 9 domestic trophies prior to Thursday night. So, but my worry is going back to height. And I think if you play Andy Carroll and you stick to a game plan of just keep pumping big balls up to him, the chances are, let's face it, he wins most headers. Mm-hmm. The second ball, we've got to be absolutely at it. And if we're not, we could be in big trouble. You only have to get a knockdown, and you've got the likes of Richie and others. A shot from outside the box and rebounds, and anything could happen when Carroll's around because he causes mayhem. And the trouble is he tends to draw 2 players towards him, and they try and outmuscle him, but he tends to always win the header still, which leaves other players free. So that's my massive concern. So you saying that he's lost 5 kilos and he's done really well, I'm thinking, oh shit, I was hoping he might not have played tomorrow. But that'd be my big worry, my big concern for tomorrow's game.
I'll make sure I send Steve Bruce that on WhatsApp then, so you can just tell him to do that. That's the way the Pep says it. Last one, mate. Do you think the result the other night against Chelsea is, it was morale affecting, energies happening, the ways we're going for it at the end? Is that going to be a negative, or would it be a positive that you've got everything focused on the FA Cup now? Let's go all out. Let's smash it and bring a trophy back.
I think if Liverpool hadn't won the title, and maybe they won it next week or the week after, and it was after 2 good wins, and then go put in a performance like that, I think it might have been morale sapping, and they might have gone, fucking hell, how can we play like that against Burnley and Arsenal and then put in that type of performance? But I think with Liverpool sort of, being crowned champions immediately afterwards, I think that just puts everything to one side then. I think it almost like the pressure's gone. Liverpool have won it. There's no, what if they were to lose the next 7 games? And I mean, all that garbage, it was never going to happen anyway. But I think that's gone with now. And I think Pep will sort of say, fresh start, 6 games, 7 games to go, plus the cup competitions, plus Real Madrid in the Champions League. We've got this. I think it'll be a slate wiped clean. But I still think he'll rotate massively. So from a morale point of view, like I said, I think he'll bring in some players, whether it be to put them on the market in the summer, or to say, here's your opportunity for the Liverpool game, for the Real Madrid game. Here you go. That's what I'm guessing. That's what I'm hoping. Who knows? It could have affected them, because it was such a pretty poor performance. But I'm hoping this, like you said, we've got a massive squad, so I'm hoping it gives an incentive to some of them for Pep to be pissed off and go, right, there you go and prove yourself. there are still positions up for Liverpool's game on Thursday night, so I've still not made my decision yet. So you go out there, because like I said, Foden had a slight knock and didn't play. Bernardo wasn't in the team. Sane's had that one substitute appearance. We still don't know what's happening with the Bayern Munich thing, even though there's rumours that City have gone back with one other offer to keep him, so we don't know what's happening with that. So, Gabby's got a point to prove, so have the likes of Otamendi and Stones, because if they don't perform, then I think there's some of them gone. And Cancelo's not been the best buy this season. So I think, I don't know. I'm hoping that's the season sort of wrapped up Premier League wise, and we just focus ahead now and go, right, okay, we've got cup competitions. We are plenty of points ahead of Leicester, who are in third. So there's no issue with Champions League football, albeit if UEFA take it out of our hands, or CAS do. Hopefully it'll be a reinvigorated team with lots of positions to play for Thursday. No disrespecting you playing you tomorrow, but the squad needs rotating. So we'll wait and see.
Right, nice. So I didn't catch your score prediction, Andy.
I didn't give my score prediction. I'll go same as you. I'll go City to win on penalties. So I'll go 1-1 and City to win on penalties. So I think it'll be a really tight game. If he rotates like I think he might do. I think if we played our complete full strength team, I think if it was like Ederson, Walker, Laporte with maybe Fernandinho and Mendy, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Sterling, Gabby and Mahrez or Bernardo Silva, I think we'd probably win 2-1, 3-1. But I think he will rotate, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for a 1-1 and City win on penalties in an exciting game with no noise. What are your thoughts on the televised game so far? Have you watched it with noise on and with noise off? I mean, I'm one that I've had to turn the noise off because the first one I watched, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, it sounds so fake, and I've just ended up turning it off. But have you been watching it with the noise crowd on, or what did it do? Because it seems to be stadium to stadiums, and what it's their choice, isn't it?
We've been doing live watch-alongs on the.
We have.
So I've just muted it, but the games before Newcastle started, the first one, which was Sheffield United Villa, which is awful, I watched it without the noise on, just go to get a taste for it, see what it was like. But like you say, it was just the odd barking, wasn't it? The odd shout here and there. It was just boring. And then it was your game, the City Arsenal game after that, where I switched the noise on, and I thought it was okay at first. And then you started getting delays, waiting for the referee's decision, and I was like, this is awful. This is spoiling it. So from then on, the lad I was playing golf with today, he said it was all right. They're playing the Bladen Races and other Newcastle songs and stuff, but I haven't actually had it on for the Newcastle ones. But for me, you don't really want the FIFA noise, and you can't really settle for without it. So we just need proper football back, Andy. We just need the fans back, don't we?
We do. We absolutely do. When that's going to be, who knows? But anyway, this is the end of the preview for the Newcastle game tomorrow, the FA Cup. It's going to be a great game. I want to say again a massive thank you to Matty for coming on from the Magpie Channel. Don't forget, there'll be a link in the description below. Go over and check the guys out. They do loads of watch-alongs, loads of videos and stuff like that. So go over and give them a watch and a follow. But anyway, mate, take care.
Pleasure, mate. Thanks very much. All the best for the best team win.
Yeah, mate. Maybe I might check in with you at some point tomorrow evening or Monday.
Mate, if you're 3-0 up, I'm turning my phone off. You won't hear from me.
Stay safe, brother.
See you later, mate.
Right, take care.